Which is the only way to watch this movie.
And I didn't hate it.
No.
I did not hate this movie. I think it was actually quite a bit of fun. Well, let me backtrack. I don't think it was fun. I thought it was an interesting watch. How about that?
Competent.
It was competent. It looked good. Kind of dark, but it looked good.
I don't know if it looked good.
Okay. And I just like Seven Samurai type stories anyway. I like a ragtag band of folks getting together in order to fight a bigger power, a bunch of underdogs. But I did find myself sitting there going, Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars. Is that Star Wars?
Oh, there's samurai in there. Well, but Star Wars did that first.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Young Junk! What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast, part one, A Child of Fire, episode 59.
I am the scar giver.
A shart, where we talk about movies, TV, comics, slow motion action scenes, and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itch.
Good scratch.
We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ, a bomb-ass podcasting production space in Philadelphia, PA. I'm your otherworldly host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street. It's a rad-ass comic shop which caters to rad-ass folks like you. So get your rad-asses down here and buy my rad-ass stuff. Capitalism. With me tonight is...
No, I am also... I'm a co-host. I am a failed Star Wars pitch of a co-host.
There you go.
Now
Perfect.
here to talk about things that scratch itches. Scratches.
Well, also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan the Great. Remember, if anything goes wrong, Dylan did it.
Sorry.
Womp,
Oh wait, on this
womp.
soundboard, I can actually do a little.
Is that your catchphrase now?
Yeah. Sorry. Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when we go live and add new content. Also, we love a little back and forth. So pipe up in the chat. Well, don't pipe up in the chat because this is pre-recorded.
I don't know why you have to...
Because they're going to wonder why we're not piping up back.
we can type back at a later date.
You going to do that?
I can.
Okay, great. Type in the chat and Noel will specifically get back to you. Also, email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Noel, what have you been up to this week?
Well, it's been a little longer than a week because there's 11 seasons of this show that I'm going to talk about.
Okay. What have you been up to for these 11 seasons?
I have discovered a show after everyone else in the world discovered it.
I was going to say, so like Christopher Columbus discovered it.
Yeah. Basic. Same.
Did you give anyone pox blankets?
No, I subtly killed all other people that talked about it first. Yeah. I mean, it was subtle.
Little blow dart. Tell us about Letterkenny.
Letterkenny on Hulu. It is a Canadian sitcom that just dropped its 12th season.
Wow.
They're only 6 episodes long.
Oh,
but I don't know how to describe this show for anyone that's not watched it yet. It is basically about farmers. Yeah, like 3 main characters are farmers, and the one main character's sister. There's your 4 core group, and they live in a small town called Letterkenny in Canada. It's a farm town of just population 5,000 people, and it's basically just them living, drinking, and getting in scraps. But they are all incredibly eloquent and highly educated. So the show itself has like a Gilmore Girls style pitter-patter to the dialogue, and it's back and forth. And actually, that's what it's from. Yeah, that's them. Pitter-patter, let's get at her. Yeah. Lots and lots of catchphrases, lots and lots of callbacks, lots and lots of like very quick whip snap dialogue. And it's just, it is a addictive watch.
Yeah.
And it's socially progressive in a really fun way. Just the show is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
I had heard about it years ago, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, well, that was delightful. And then it immediately fell out of my brain, and I forgot all about it until like couple weeks ago when you started bringing it up
Yeah.
a lot. And so I keep wanting to get back to it, but I'm not entirely sure it's something Sushan would like. So
Maybe not.
yeah, it'd have to be a thing that I watch after they go to bed.
It's a very interesting show. I think a really reductive way to describe it is Trailer Park Boys with a brain. But Trailer Park Boys is nihilistic. This is not a nihilistic show. Like every single character is trying to be a better version of themselves,
No
or
kidding.
at least a good version. Yeah, the main character, Wayne, is just an immovable object and like kind,
Reacher.
do well. He's the toughest guy in Letterkenny. He's never lost a fight.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's also a very aggro show too. Like it is a very like masculine forward, but it's not toxic, which is super weird. It skates such a fine line that I'm just constantly impressed. It's super female gazy, but it's also super empowering. It's just so weird. It's a very weird show. I love the shit out of it.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and let us know what you think of Letterkenny, because I'm curious. I don't hear anybody else but Noel talking about this show.
Give your balls a tug.
Him constantly saying, give your balls a tug. So let us know or tweet at us at cultpopgo. I want to hear about it.
What have you been up to this week, or just the last chunk of your life?
So Invincible, I'm sure you all know, is a really cool cartoon on Prime. I have not watched season 2 yet because I've been reading all of the comic books. There are 3 compendiums. Each compendium's about that thick, $65 for about 60 issues. 48 issues for $65.
Still, it's an excellent deal. I'm just saying.
Excellent deal.
348 issue. It's 144 issues total.
Thank you. And it is one of the best superhero ongoing comics of all time. The fact that the characters grow, develop, change their thinking, their approach to superheroics, the way they deal with supervillains, the way they deal with family. It's just amazing. It is the best superhero comic book of all time, because it does that. Like, it is just as good as like Amazing Spider-Man's ever been, or any of the other big superhero books, but it goes one step further and gives you your third act. Like, everybody eventually evolves.
They're allowed to grow. In superhero comic books, you're typically not allowed to grow, especially in the big 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, because it they have to appeal to readers of all ages and then get in new readers. So I'm sorry, 45-year-old Peter Parker, even though that would be interesting for me to read, it is not interesting for 7-year-olds who you also want to pick up Spider-Man. Yeah. So
the reset button
there's always a reset button, whereas something with Invincible, they never reset. It's just a long form story, and it's very, very good.
And there are even the there's peaks and valleys, right? So right now I'm in a big section that's dealing with Monster Girl and Robot and their time away on a different planet where time moves differently. So they've been there for hundreds of years, and the way their relationship develops and changes is it's a little long in the tooth, but it's also really interesting. And I've never seen that delved into that specifically and for that long in a superhero comic book. Did you read the entire series?
I've read, I've never finished it, but I have it all. Yeah. And now I'm at the point where I have to start over probably just to get the full grasp of it.
So that's kind of what I did. I had been reading it in issues as it was coming out, and then someone dangled keys. I got distracted and I put it down. So I got about 3/4 of the way through the entire series monthly, and then just got distracted. And, so in order to restart this, I actually just started with Compendium 2, started at the beginning of that. So like issue 49. And I'm almost done Compendium 2. I'm about to jump into the last compendium.
I started it in hardcovers. Each hardcover is about 12 to 13 issues.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I got up to the 4th or 5th hardcover and then jumped on issues, which was, I remember reading not only the Invincible War, which was a single issue crossover event. Yeah. And that was like issue 75 or something like that. Yeah. And then at about an arc after that. And then I like moved, Sublist dropped, Wanted to get the next hardcover. Like I fell off in general, but I've always been ready to like pick it back up. So all of the later in life stuff with the family and the main big bad Viltrumite, I very much don't really know that much about. Like I know the first chunk of it where they are all introduced and like that's resolved, but the whole like rehash of it and the final finale, I've never read it and I don't know what it is. And just like with all Robert Kirkman comics, no one spoils things.
Yeah.
Like this book has been out for a gajillion years and I have never had the ending spoiled for me.
That's awesome.
I know that like good guys win, but like I don't know any of like the setup for it. And I ended up purchasing the rest of the hardcovers. I did start a reread, I want to say 2 years ago, and I got through the first 3 hardcovers again. Okay. So yeah, if I jump back in, I'm gonna jump at like 4 or 5. So that's like in the 45 to 50 issue range. But the second compendium for you. Yeah.
There's just so many. There's such nuance to the characters and the way they interact with each other.
I remember loving Amber so much.
Yeah. The first girlfriend, his first girlfriend.
Yeah, like it was such a good relationship, and not in like they were perfect for each other. More like I don't think I've ever seen a relationship or a teenage relationship that was one that realistic, but also like kind of emotionally mature. Like a good relationship that teenagers have, not a overly dramatic or weird or contentious one. It was just like she wants to have a normal boyfriend and he can't be that, and there's no acrimony. It's just I can't be what you need. Yeah. I'm like, that is so emotionally mature that doesn't happen in comics. If that was Spider-Man, because of how it can't have a third act, it would be a dramatic, he didn't tell her the truth and she didn't know. And if only they were able to meet and talk it out. And oh no, like, which is fun in its own, but like, it's
nice to see something a little different.
That was a turning point for me, that this book is completely different, where it was just like, you're seeing like actual like relationships growing. It's good.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things is Eve. So at one point, Invincible Mark leaves the planet and he has his girlfriend, Eve. They've said, I love you, all this, they're together. And he disappears for quite a while and he comes back and she has put on a lot of weight. She basically just like ate her feelings, right? She was depressed and just ate a lot and got much bigger. And they just kept her that way for a long time. It wasn't any sort of like fat shaming, body shaming. It was all very body positive. She felt a certain way about it because, it was, looking at herself, she felt a certain way, but like the comic book doesn't look at her that way.
No.
And they keep her that way and it's very cool. She looks like a human woman.
I forgot how does her power work?
She's able to manipulate atoms.
Can she manipulate her own atoms?
Yes.
So she chose to stay that weight?
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's awesome. Invincible's great. Highly recommend. If you've never read it, read it all.
Like, because if I had the ability to just completely change my body type at all times, I would.
I would do it.
I'd have a 12 pack.
Yep.
I'd be 6 feet tall. Duh. Yeah.
All right. You ready for the main topic, the main event?
I mean, is it time for that already?
It's time.
It feels like it happened really, really fast. There's only been 15 minutes of this show.
Well, we haven't done anything in slow motion yet, so. That brings us to Rebel Moon.
Part 1,
A Child of Fire.
Rated PG-13.
Is it really?
Available on Netflix.
Surprisingly bloodless, this movie. Directed by Zack Snyder, starring Sophia Boutella, Charlie Hunnam, Michael Huisman, I said that, Ed Skrein, and Anthony Hopkins. When a colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of the tyrannical Regent Balisarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. So we're going to talk about our initial thoughts of Zack Snyder, of Rebel Moon, and then we will warn you for spoilers, and then we're going to get into the spoilers to finish up our discussion. So, Noel, initial thoughts on Zack Snyder, and then lead us into our discussion about Rebel Moon.
The more of his content that I watch, the more that his earlier films that I do enjoy are affected by it.
Oh no. Wait, better or worse?
Worse.
Ah, dang.
I don't really enjoy his storytelling. I don't enjoy his storytelling. I know that he is a technically proficient and exemplary filmmaker. I think he's a
visualist.
I think he's a very poor storyteller. And I will explain. I've been thinking about this analogy and a lot. I am not a professional screenwriter, but I did go to college for it. I do have training for it. I am a writer by trade. There is a very specific kind of creativity is not math, but there is a process to make something. Mm-hmm. You know, you understand how an art is supposed to be laid out in order to create depth or flatness, or it's not math, but there are rules to lead the eye where you're supposed to go. Storytelling, plotting, narrative. Think of it as this way. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 4 is 8. You can sense a pattern of escalation to get you know, rising action to get to a climax, and then you kind of reset the clock. That is narrative. Zack Snyder's movies, instead of 1 + 1 2, 2 + 2 4, 4 + 4 8, is like 1 2 4 8. He skips steps.
I see.
They are not like, as just a human that understands language, yes, you can follow how they got to 2, how they got to 4, how they got to 8. But because he doesn't really show the work, he just tells you what it is. Mm-hmm. It is a very soulless end result that's just pretty, or it feels jarring, or it feels empty. Or I just don't care about the people on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It makes sense on paper, like he's checking off lists, but I'm never on a journey with his movies. I'm just told, and here's pretty.
Yeah.
And it's not enjoyable. I just don't really enjoy it. Like the last movie of his that I enjoyed,
Watchmen.
Yeah, I was okay with Watchmen.
300.
I haven't revisited 300 in about 15 years, and I don't know if I want to.
No, I don't.
Dawn of the Dead I thought was really fun.
I loved Dawn of the Dead. I was like, who's this dude?
I loved it at the time. Yeah. My last revisit, it was kind of a really nihilistic, shitty movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it as much. Sure. Maybe because I'm at a different point in my life.
Right, yeah, sure.
But even for a zombie apocalypse movie, it was still pretty jarring and nihilistic. And it's like, okay.
Did you enjoy any of his DCEU offerings? Because there are flashes in each of his movies that I go, that was pretty cool.
That's just it. It's pieces. And that's the analogy I'm trying to make. Like, it's not whole cloth experiences of his movies that I enjoy. I enjoy sequences of beautiful ballet or efficiency or visualizations. And as cool as those are, shared in a 6-minute clip, as a 2.5-hour movie, I have nothing to hold on to, and I don't enjoy it.
Or a 4-hour movie.
We saw, I think I've seen every one of them with you since Man of Steel. I didn't see Man of Steel with you.
No.
I liked most of Man of Steel. But it was the kind of like, I enjoyed it in the theater, and then when I kind of thought about it for an hour, it kind of started to crumble for me. Like, as cool as that wasn't really, it didn't feel like Superman. It felt like something else. And I didn't like the interaction with Pa Kent stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I get, again, I understand.
Yeah, it's not that we don't understand it.
I understand the movie. I understand the plot. I understand the goal of the story. I don't think it's executed well.
Right.
That's my problem. I don't think he's a good writer. I don't think he cares about putting in the groundwork. This is Rebel Moon, or just most of the time his movies. You know what? His 2 most recent movies, Army of the Dead and this. It's the difference between reading Lord of the Rings or I'm just going to read the Wikipedia page and the appendices of the character sheets for Lord of the Rings. You get all the information both ways.
Yeah.
But for one, you have an experience, and the other one, you just have information. He is just information.
Right on.
And I don't enjoy that.
I remember sitting in Man of Steel going, what? Maybe you should let the kids die, Pa Kent? What?
You don't understand. Like, no, I get it.
You just helped 9/11 all of Metropolis, and you're going to float slowly over to Lois to kiss her while there's people trapped under rubble? Really? But then the rest of the movie, there's a lot of elements of that movie I love.
Yeah.
Same thing with BVS, same thing with Justice League, both versions. I think there's things in there that I enjoy.
BVS, we saw that together.
We walked out pretty hyped.
It was Sushan was there too.
Yeah.
We were in the parking lot for like 2 hours talking about the movie. And that conversation is where I realized, oh shit, I don't think this was a good movie.
Yeah, you can watch us come out like, yeah, hooting and hollering and fist pumping and throwing popcorn at each other.
Wasn't
and
it
like,
cool when this happened?
Oh, and then this happened, and then
but
wait a minute.
Why did that happen?
Hey, why did this? Hey, did you notice? Oh,
isn't it a little weird that?
And then we kind of talked ourselves out of it just by, revisiting the movie.
And it wasn't like one person.
In a conversation.
Trying to neg the other two people.
No.
We all just kept we were hype and talking about how cool that action scene was, how cool this was, and yeah.
Oh, what's weird though? Yeah.
And it's just that's a positive experience with Zack Snyder's movies where you're caught up in it, but then any kind of exploration
reflection
is just what the fuck?
It crumbles.
Sucker Punch, I hated from jump.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It is not a movie.
Yeah. It's like 9 music videos.
It's a fever dream with no plot whatsoever. Even the dream character was Scott Glenn. He was in all their dreams.
I don't know.
Then he's the bus driver at the end. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? Yeah. Is she in a dream then? Because the visual language that you established was that he only shows up in dreams. But then you're saying, no, she got out. Did she?
Yeah.
You don't put enough, a lot of his movies are vibes.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And I
just watched Mandy. Vibes.
That is vibes.
That's vibes. Which is fine. Sometimes you want vibes.
Yeah.
Some people like the vibes. So,
I'm sorry.
Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire.
No, your initial thoughts on Zack Snyder. We're doing this in steps, bro.
Oh, I thought I'm agreeing with everything you're saying.
Oh, okay.
There are things that I think I get pretty hype about when I'm watching it, and then as soon as I walk out of the theater and the light of day hits me, and I'm like, everything just kind of melts away, and I'm like, oh wait, that was kind of terrible.
Did you like Army of the Dead?
I did not watch it. I had it's a zombie movie. It's a zombie action movie, which I should be hyped for, and I had no interest in watching it whatsoever.
Wow, I didn't know you never saw it.
Never bothered. It didn't even occur to me to bother.
I was even though I haven't liked all of his flicks, I was actually pretty hyped for that flick because we came off of years of narrative out there that he hasn't been able to control his own process. Things were messed up around him. We've never seen his real voice.
Yeah.
And he was returning to horror, which the last thing that we really enjoyed that he did was fucking Dawn of the Dead.
It didn't look like horror.
I was hyped to watch it. My wife and I sat down and watched it when it released on Netflix, and it is a spiteful, nihilistic, incomplete, dumb as fuck movie. I was
in a good way.
No, I was so the beginning. Did you watch any of it?
No.
The first 5 minutes, how it all happens.
Never. Nothing.
A dude is getting there's army dudes that are talking about boobs and shit or something they're transporting some mysterious something through the desert of Las Vegas, and these army dudes are being bros, having bro speech, and there's another car where a guy's getting highway head, and that car veers into the truck, murders them, the truck explodes, and whatever they were transporting gets released, and it was a zombie.
Did he finish?
I don't fucking know. They got murdered for having sex in the car.
He probably finished.
But it was that's the start of this very nihilism, more nihilism here, and then every plot point was either not explained or just thrown away.
Yeah, man.
And, it was, and everyone is telling me, yeah, but like that was a seed for the anime that he wants to make about.
What?
Yeah, there's like an anime for that, and then there's a prequel called Army of Thieves where this character is here, and then there's a book that explains why their heads are flashing, and then there's like a sequel plan. I'm like, I don't care. Make a movie good.
Yeah, that's the same problem I had with his DCU stuff.
Make the movie good.
Yeah, just make a thing good, and then yeah,
we can build off that. Like, not constantly plant seeds that aren't going anywhere.
Yes.
That was Army of the Dead, and it's a preview of my thoughts on Rebel Moon.
we are going. I hope. I'm curious to see if this show reaches the correct audience. To see how this goes. So yeah, I don't hate the guy. I don't wish him ill.
Not at all.
Just don't enjoy his movies to the extent that a lot of other people do.
Right on.
My initial thoughts on Rebel Moon are: I sat down to watch this, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch it for the show. I'm kind of curious. I know that it was a failed Star Wars attempt, right?
Let's be in good faith. It was it started as a Star Wars pitch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
That he decided to make his own.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And why not? That sounds like a cool
not
idea.
failed.
Yeah.
Just he decided to. He wanted to control himself.
I sat down to watch it with Sushan, and we watched it in chunks.
Which is the only way to watch this movie.
And I didn't hate it.
No.
I did not hate this movie. I think it was actually quite a bit of fun. Well, let me backtrack. I don't think it was fun. I thought it was an interesting watch. How about that? It was competent. It looked good, kind of dark, but it looked good.
I don't know if it looked good.
Okay. And I just like Seven Samurai type stories anyway. I like a ragtag band of folks getting together in order to fight a bigger power, a bunch of underdogs. But I did find myself sitting there going, Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars. Is that Star Wars?
Oh, there's samurai in there. Well, but Star Wars did that first.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think I enjoyed this more than you did. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. We could talk about the good of it. I actually think the first 25 minutes are fantastic.
Oh, great.
The first half hour to 40 minutes. Actually, I think it's like the first 50 minutes because you don't leave the farm until almost an hour in.
Yeah.
Everything from not everything. I'm being hyperbolic. I was still with the movie from
Jump.
No, not even from Jump, because I think the voiceover from a character that is not important yet was weird. If you're gonna give me an info dump of information, let me read it.
Okay.
So like I'm okay with the Star
Just give
Wars.
us like a scroll
Yeah, the
that
Star
goes
Wars,
back
the
in
Star
space.
Wars, the Star Wars crawl. At least lets me kind of like see the words.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like when they're made up words or made up names, I'm at least I could see I didn't mishear something.
Yeah.
With Anthony Hopkins just talking about Regent Balisarius and all these.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a person, place, or thing, my dude.
Yeah.
Like it was a little. I actually rewounded it twice. Also.
Oh wow.
Also. Why does space travel look like a vagina?
Oh, I don't know. Because it's Zack Snyder.
But he was asked about that.
Oh.
All it really did was like literally the opening shot is like
Wow.
space folding over and
Yeah.
a phallic ship coming through it.
Yeah.
I rolled my eyes, but I was like, whatever.
And then as they're going through, someone reaches up and goes.
And then there was phalanges on the ship that were just tickling. No. I rolled my eyes, but I was like, whatever, it's fine. But then like articles and interviews afterwards, his response to like, it was intentionally blah, blah, blah. Oh, you don't understand. How that works makes perfect sense for the mythology that I set up in the movie. I'm like, dude.
Where is it?
Where is it? And it was created whole cloth. Still looks like a vagina.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. Like if you wanted to give me a cockamamie answer about like, well, space travel from sector to sector is like entering this thing and doing this,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like birthing into a new zone. Cool. Give me an artsy fartsy answer.
Yeah.
But don't say that like The answer's later.
Yeah.
Like, come on, my dude.
Mhm.
You are, the filmmaker is God.
Mhm.
Their camera is their eye. They show you what they want you to see, what they want you to think, what they want you to experience.
Yeah.
So if you chose to make that, you wanted me to see it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's vibes. The whole farm stuff. The whole farm stuff I was down with.
I like this. Yeah. I was enjoying it. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
It was a real conflict. All these characters seem pretty nifty. Even when the space Nazis show up, first of all, everyone's incredibly pretty, but whatever. Yeah. Even like the dirtiest people on the farm are like,
still would.
Yeah. WYD would. When the space Nazis even show up, that's incredibly tense and creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
The have an embrace from the motherland. Mm-hmm. Like they don't shake hands. He just like awkwardly hugs them and like
for too long.
Yeah.
Even the guy's like,
this is tension. This is cool. That transpires, gets worse. Like all of that is great. And then as soon as
it did make me want to rewatch Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Which did it much better.
90% of this movie is retread.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. There is no such thing as new fiction. Mm-hmm. It's just all kind of reshaken around. It's just this was very retread. Mm-hmm. But we get to are we in spoilers?
No. This is initial thoughts.
Okay. Spoiler, there's slow motion in this movie.
Okay. Hey, those are initial thoughts. Let's get into spoilers right now.
There's that first action sequence, the first fight.
Ugh. I didn't even care about that.
That was my problem. So we've spent this, and this is the problem I have with like the 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, or just 1, 2, 4, 8. We know that our main character is mysterious. She's got a past. We presume it's with this group of Nazis, and it's probably violent. That's a safe assumption to make.
Yeah.
So bad guys are going to rape a farm girl. She interjects and beats them all up.
Sophia does. Yeah.
Sophia does, yeah. Cora.
Yeah.
For your first bit of action, it became this slow motion, extended ballet of sort. That's not the right word for it. Just this slow motion, janky choreography of her fighting like 6 dudes. And halfway through it, felt like a 5-minute sequence, but halfway through it, I thought there's no weight to the like physical weight to the space, mm-hmm. and absolutely no blood pumping mm-hmm. for me as a viewer.
Yeah.
Because for hand-to-hand combat, especially, BVS, watch Batman's fight in the warehouse.
Oh, it's so good.
That is intense, hand-to-hand, well choreographed, quick cut together.
Makes you flinch.
You feel the brutality of these bad guys coming across a foe that they can't quickly get rid of. Yeah. That creates momentum, tension. Yeah. As soon as as a filmmaker, he built up all this tension and then slowed it the fuck down.
Yep.
And just, because it was slowed down, it looked wildly fake.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There was no real pacing. Like the pacing itself was just so off. And then that was when the movie lost me. Mm-hmm. Like it lost me because you built all these, you were on the right path. You were doing the work. You built up this tension so incredibly well. You made me like these people. And then all of a sudden, nope.
Yeah.
And then the movie just tanked from there. Like I'll get into more when you get into your likes and dislikes, because there is some things, really specific things that I can't.
Well, I did write down some 3 dislikes and 3 likes.
What are your likes? Because I share some of these likes.
Okay, so my likes are Ed's screen as Admiral Atticus.
Fucking awesome.
The thing you were just talking about,
awesome.
His introduction, his hug, the way that he has just like a shillelagh for some reason that he bonks people across the face with.
He understands the assignment. Mm-hmm. He is in a better movie.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Ed Screen is so fucking dope in this movie. He might be my favorite bad guy right now, because he's always a bad guy. Yeah. He was awesome in Alita.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big fucking CGI monster with his face.
Yeah.
He was awesome in Alita. He was awesome in Deadpool.
Right.
He is my favorite bad guy right now.
Francis.
Yeah.
Is he Francis?
He's Ajax. Yeah.
Wow. He was great in that.
He is.
Yeah, he's great.
I love him.
Admiral Atticus, awesome.
Awesome.
I also love Jenna Malone as Harmata, which is basically the Stalk from Saga. The Spider Woman who somehow unlocked something in me, where I was like, she's a Spider Woman, she's hot. She doesn't no arm. She has no. She's like her top. She's a what would you call them? Horse people.
Centaur.
She's a centaur, but a spider. A spitar. So she's a woman who's nude from the waist up, has no arms. They just are shoulders, and then have she's got like the thorax. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Big spider butt, and then all of her little spider legs. She's super scary.
Aren't there fingers on the legs too, like hands on the legs?
No. They're just regular.
Wait, are we talking about in Saga or here?
Oh, Saga.
I thought she had digits.
I don't think so. Maybe. But anyway, super hot. And then I was like, oh, Jenna Malone is as Stalk from Saga. That's pretty cool. I like that whole sequence. I think it sort of comes and goes, but I enjoyed watching it.
That whole sequence is great. It means nothing to the movie though.
And like the thing I said earlier is like, I just like a 7 samurai ragtag grouping of folks, of underdogs.
You know what never happens? All those people talking at all with each other.
Like characters should. Like engage with each other. Like, hey, we're all a bunch of ragtags in a 7 samurai grouping. Maybe we should have a chat.
Not only do we never
That's a good point.
know why they're going to each place and each person, because they're never introduced.
Yeah.
But you never see them interacting with each other at all.
Oh my God, you're right.
Not a one fucking bit.
Yeah.
You just are expected to believe like they all must be on the same team.
But
Cool.
Ed Skrein, when he finally captures them, does go very slowly person to person and gives a slight little info dump on who that person is and why they're important at the end of the film. Yeah. And then so those are my likes.
I agree with Ed Skrein. The Harmata, the Jenna Malone, excellent character design. That entire sequence meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
I don't.
It was a cool bit.
Nemesis. Her name is Nemesis.
Yeah, the woman who fights
her.
Who
fights her.
Yeah. No idea anything about her. She's got an interesting hat.
What?
She's like an anime hat.
The only thing worse than that was the naked boy on the hippogriff scene.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And also, what?
And also, how?
Well, I mean, they showed me how in slow motion.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But what?
Yeah.
And then also, oh God. Hey, this cat is a slave because he's paying off a debt willfully there. We need him. Well, you're going to have to bet me for him. Okay.
Yeah. Breaking that
what's the bet? Yeah, breaking that guy. And then all of the people whose freedom could be taken away off this immediately, without even talking to this motherfucker, are like, sure.
Yeah.
Like, also, it's like one fat dude and 2 other dudes.
Yeah.
Just take them.
Yeah. Just leave.
I don't understand like the when the story chooses to follow the rules versus when it doesn't is so fucking arbitrary.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Also, again, I watched the whole movie. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I know.
Who the fuck is Blood Axe?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not, we actually did get some dialogue that introduced
the captain or
Space Antifa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Antifa.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But then, you know, like when you said the movie looks great, I think the first half looks great.
Yeah.
When they start visiting other planets, it is incredibly ugly CGI places.
Oh, it didn't bother me. The CG didn't bother me.
When they came through the Colosseum world, where you don't actually see anything happening in a Colosseum at all, or you know that he's a trusted general until the very end of the movie, has nothing to do with anything. Jimon Hansu.
Yeah.
He's like the greatest mind, tactical mind.
She says that when she's talking him into it, right? He's there, he's drunk, he's got his
just like you should get vengeance, not that they fear him. You don't find that out until the very end. But he does nothing.
Yeah.
Like he literally does nothing. But that
I
it
mean,
just
none of them do anything. They all get captured immediately.
exactly.
Yeah, which I kind of like that actually. I like that little twist of, I mean, it wasn't really a twist of Charlie Hunnam being like, well, I'm bad, surprise. But the fact that they were all captured that quickly, I was kind of like, oh, that was actually kind of interesting. I expected more of a fight, and the fact that they're just like, gotcha.
The
I like that bit.
King Leviticus's planet, the squid face guy,
Yeah.
Davy Jones, when they're flying down onto his planet, that looks awful. It literally took me out of the movie because it looks so bad.
Oh, really?
And he is a beautiful filmmaker. And it just was like, ugh. And then we visit like 18 planets in 20 minutes. But this final fight is like on unregistered trade post in a cloud city or a cloud. I don't fucking know.
Star Wars.
It was so weird.
Cloud City.
And a traitor.
Yeah.
Who changed the deal
On a Cloud City.
fucking
Yeah. It's Star Wars. Which is what I don't understand. I mean, I understand why he didn't get to make the Star Wars, because they were like, guys, we already did this. You wrote us a Star Wars script that is just the Star Wars we've made. But also, to be fair, New Force Awakens is also a Star Wars that was a Star Wars.
yeah,
that
I don't think
existed
Star
already.
Wars has problems with being
retreads.
Yeah, no.
My dislikes. I forgot my biggest dislike is he gets hit with his own shillelagh at the end, and his teeth go flying.
Oh yeah.
And then the very next time you see him, he's got all of his teeth.
They were all back teeth.
I guess.
He doesn't smile as much.
Yeah. His teeth are fine, but I'm like, there were like 9 teeth. He just went skipping.
So I want to go back to the Charlie Hunnam, the Kai. His name was Kai, by the way.
Oh.
His
Named after my son.
Yeah, your son is a traitor. He has. Oh, that's something I like. I'm gonna stick with what I don't like right now. He has 2 extended scenes of dialogue. One when they meet, and then one after they get their team together, who we've never seen in the same room, about how he's changed now, and I want to be a part of this, and I'm gonna die for something with you,
Be
hot
a
lady.
hero, yeah.
Be a hero. Well, I gotta drop off some cargo first. You want to come with me?
Yeah.
Okay. No one questions anything. It was just such a oddly placed scene where it was like, yeah, he's gonna.
And the very next scene, he betrays them.
And then they murder him.
Yeah.
All of the interesting characters, even potentially interesting characters, are murdered in this movie.
Who else
Blood
is dead?
Axe and
Wait, Blood Axe.
Kai.
Blood Axe. Which one's Blood Axe?
Ray Fisher. He gets. This is
Ray Fisher?
the dreadlock guy. Blood Axe. He gets
Oh,
killed.
Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher from
the actor,
BVS.
Ray Fisher.
Yeah, Cyborg. I'm sorry. I was thinking of who's the guy who just passed away who was in Ahsoka? Ray Stevenson. Gotcha.
So that's a perfect example of this movie bothering me so much. Like, for a good chunk of the movie, we're told how important / intense the clan Blood Axe is and how important it is to kind of get them. They kind of get them. And the very next scene, he's murdered.
Yeah.
And the way that they depict it with like sad music and slow motion of him falling, I'm like,
motherfucker, we just met this guy.
you didn't earn that.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean anything to me because I don't fucking know this guy. He's fodder.
Yeah.
They're all fodder.
They're all fought. Yeah.
And that's my problem. It's just, it's like, it's fucking checking off boxes. Now, what I will say, the Mos Eisley Cantina scene, some of those aliens are dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The brain guy, literally the brain that was just using a
That guy
person
was
as a
awesome.
puppet, fucking rad.
Puppet dude.
I will watch a movie of that guy. I'll watch a movie of the bartender at that place.
Yeah.
More than I want to see.
I love that. The brain guy. That was a guy.
The brain guy. There was that weird. Just the brain guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Everything
only
else
one that
was,
stuck out to me. Yeah. But I was like, oh,
weird
that's really
moonhead.
cool. I like that idea. Yeah.
This movie was disappointing.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed by this movie.
My dislikes.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Where it felt bloated,
You think?
but also thin.
Yeah.
It's a dichotomy of both of those things.
And if
It's
anybody,
like a 14 course meal, and then I'm still starving at the end.
if anybody is if anybody watches this, I don't know how the internet works, and you're gonna maybe disagree with some of the things we're saying respectfully, by saying this is only part one.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of part ones that feel like a full film and or a full 3-act structure, even though they end on cliffhangers.
Yeah.
They don't just end mid-sentence.
Well, this doesn't end on a cliffhanger either.
No.
Right? It just feels like
mid-sentence.
an end of a part one. It feels like, oh, we got to the place, we're gonna be back
Well, then
here.
why do you feel empty?
Because there was nothing of meat in it. Right? There was too much in there for me to, if everything's at 11.
Oh no, it's too sleepy to be at 11.
I'm trying to figure out why I still felt empty. It's because I didn't have any emotional connection to anything that was happening on screen.
Yeah.
So though I watched it and some of it had cool elements, I was not emotionally invested in anything, so I didn't feel anything. And that's why it felt thin.
Feels like a movie that was like reverse engineered to be a handful of really pretty screensavers.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's nothing to hold on to. It's like there's nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me I have to watch a 4-hour cut and read a tie-in comic book and a novelization to care about these characters, I'm sorry, fuck you.
Yeah.
No. I should be able to watch the movie, the
and then
primary source, and then want ancillary stuff
yeah.
to figure out more, not feel so empty by this piece of content that I have to seek out more. This isn't meth. This is entertainment. I should not have to have the first taste for free and then fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, I should want to explore this world. And as of right now, we're the first 2.5 hours of this experience. I don't care to watch part 2 or read anything else.
I'm interested enough to watch part 2. I'm at least that in.
Only if we're doing it for the show.
Which we will. The other thing I didn't...
No director's cut, though.
Sophia Boutella.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I thought her action was great. I did not buy her acting. I thought she was a little flat.
I think she was great in everything else I've seen her in, so I kind of blame that on the director or any coaching that she got. She was in The Kingsman. She was in...
Right, she had the cool legs.
She was in Kingsman. She was in Atomic Blonde. She was one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Oh my God, she was.
She was even good in The Mummy, which
I haven't seen.
It was a dumb movie, but she's menacing and physical and...
Was she the mummy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
She's the bad guy.
Yeah, in this, I thought she acted like... She was cool, but I didn't buy her acting.
She's physical. She's beautiful. She has a unique look.
Yeah.
She's compelling. Everything that came out of her mouth was boring.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
And it was like she was stoic without earning it. Oh man. Every time the more we talk about this, the more I get upset. When they do her flashbacks, like you see her maybe talk a little bit and like have normal conversations, but as soon as they go into flashback mode, she sounds like she's reading from an 18th century novel. Her dialogue completely changes. Her voice completely changes. I was clocking weird words that I don't even use about like, we effervescently blah, 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 blah. Like it wasn't her anymore. So like, it felt like somebody wrote this for me, not the character is relaying her information. Now, if it's I used to be that, cool. Not a context that this movie provides. So it wasn't anything that like gelled with me so much as just became odd.
Yeah, it was like
burdensome.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and
why are you doing that?
And when you tell somebody your backstory, at a fire, I don't know. The way she was telling it was like it was just odd. It was so weird and odd. There was nothing organic about it.
Yeah, inorganic. That's
There's nothing organic about it, and and it just all was like, and then this princess who can make birds alive, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like it's an info dump. It was all info dumps with no payoff.
All right, well that I agree with.
Yeah.
And the third thing I didn't like was that the whole thing was just like Star Wars. So same thing I've already said. But I didn't hate it as much as you seem to. You get actively grumpy
stars.
about it. I loved it.
5 stars. Go see it. Yeah. There's
2.5 for me. 2.5 stars.
There. I'd give it
2.
I don't know. 1.5, 2, maybe 2. I didn't enjoy this movie. I'm allowed to not enjoy this movie.
Sure.
There are people that are treating his output like it's fucking gospel, and that's very weird.
I don't understand, especially for his type of output.
I love so many writers and directors. They're not
Infallible.
untouchable or infallible. Like everyone's got something that's like not my favorite.
And they do this interesting thing where like if you don't like Snyder, it's happened to me a couple times. No, well, yes, that. But like, oh, you're a gun cultist, and I'm like, no, I just didn't like BVS. What?
Yeah,
why are you guys talking like everything's a cult? Like,
I mean, some people on the right do the same thing with politics. Like, yeah, if we're gonna put this guy in, if we're gonna try this guy for this, then we'll try that guy too. I was like yeah, sure,
yeah.
If he's guilty,
yeah,
let's do that.
Yeah,
let's get them all.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like my team, your team. Like, how about all of them?
Yeah.
How about all the bad? So like, if Zack Snyder makes a movie that blows my goddamn socks off, I will be the first person to tell you how wrong I was and how I cannot wait to see more of this and great. He hasn't, and I'm not going to like not say that I didn't enjoy it because I can relatively competently explain as to why I didn't care for it. Not fuck it sucked. Like
garbage emoji.
No, it's just not well done.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm gonna watch the second one.
Sterling
I'm
words.
Curious to see how it.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I'm curious to see how it's gonna wrap up. But yeah, I would like to be emotionally invested. And if something happens in the latter half where I get emotionally invested, maybe that'll help.
One last thing.
My views of the first one.
Why is this a movie
instead of a series? I have no idea.
If there are 8 hours of story,
just
because
do
it
as a series, man.
Why is this a movie?
Yeah.
Why are we so constrained with these fucking
paradigms?
Sandboxes if you are on a streaming service that does not like have to be this way. It's all arbitrary bullshit. And that's also what pisses me off more. Like if
have there been any Netflix movies that have gone to theaters?
Yeah.
So maybe the intention was to send this to a theater and it was just made last. Wait, did this get any release at all?
It had like a couple of like presentations and some cities and stuff, but
I wonder if they were planning for a bigger release and then they were like,
oh, I don't know about that. I mean, they would have. No, I don't know what it is, but like he was told that like I have freedom here and blah blah blah, and you're telling me that like, then why is this a movie?
Yeah,
like make your show.
Yeah.
When people talk about how Zack Snyder's Justice League is better than the 2017 Justice League, sure. It was 2.5 hours longer.
Yeah.
So if you needed 2 hours more to make your story make sense, it's not a movie.
Right.
That would never have been released.
You made a season.
That was a season, a television show.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have ever been released. So apples to apples kind of comparison just does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me this is like, it's really an 8-hour cut, like, then it's not a movie.
Yeah.
Format.
Do the thing you wanted to do.
Yeah, like use your format. And if you don't have the constraints of a format, don't apply them to yourself.
Yeah. Write yourself a movie.
Yeah.
Not a half of a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let us know what you thought of Rebel Moon Part 1.
A Child of Fire.
The Cursed Child or whatever. Okay. Child of Fire.
Do you know what the second one's called?
No.
Rebel Moon Part 2. The Scar Giver.
Yeah, all right. That's fine. Whatever. That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
All right. We're done. We're gonna talk at you later.
Who's the Scar Giver?
Send us your hate. Nah, send Noel your hate. I didn't mind.
Hey, I'm totally like if anybody wants to have a conversation about this, that's totally fine. It's not one of my favorite creators, and I have no issue talking about why I don't like it. Am I telling you not to like it and that you shouldn't like it?
Yes.
No, I don't give a shit.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not an asshole to anybody else. I'm not gonna scream at somebody. Okay, we're leaving. Sorry.
Okay. Bye.